It's one of those days. Actually, it's one of those weeks. You just can't get ahead. There's a ton on your to-do list and nothing's going right. Everything from your business to your personal life, right? On the business front, let's say you've lost a deal, a client has gotten upset at you, the new hire that you wanted to bring on board that was going to save the day took a different job, your kid that you love is having a meltdown about something that's very important, but it's not stopping. It's a never ending series of things that are quote unquote going wrong that you can't get ahead of. And you have that never ending to do list, right? That list, when you're in business, hey, quite frankly, when you're in life, that list is just long. It just keeps on going. And you have this sense of like, life is happening to me. I'm being very reactive and I'm not happy about this. I'm not happy about where I stand in life. Where I stand is I'm reactive, I can't get ahead, it's never enough, my best isn't good enough, all these things going through your head. And you're not feeling like you're growing, you're moving forward, you're expanding, and you're certainly not in your good juju, right? You're not in that flow state where everything feels amazing and you have this presence where you can just do the next thing and do the next thing. So that those are like what you want and where you're at. And you have two fundamentally diametrically opposed choices here. Sometimes they're not diametrically opposed, but for the point of this podcast, I want to lay them out very clearly as two different scenarios. So one is the push harder scenario and one is the step back scenario. And those are two fundamentally different ways that you can approach this situation. So the push harder version is you look at your to-do list and you like get at it. You are like, I'm just going to run like the hamster on the hamster wheel and see how much I can get done today. You just keep going. And this, again, there's a nuanced version of this, but I'm going to make it for the point of this podcast very, very clearly delineated. This just fuels the fire. This is just doing the same pattern again. It's the push harder pattern. And you keep looking at what's on your to-do list and there keeps being more there and you can never get ahead. Things aren't working the way you want because you're pushing harder. People are letting you down and that's all you see. All you see is I can't get ahead. People are letting me down. Nothing's going right. And fundamentally, life is against you. Now, there is a fundamental perspective that you need to decide what side of the line you're on. The perspective is either life is for you or life is against you. It's happening to you and you're a victim of it. Life is for you, supporting you, saying that this that I'm showing you right now is for your good, for your growth, for your more life, or this that I'm showing you right now is to punish you and to show you what for. And that is a perspective choice that you need to make. And it's one of the biggest choices that you can make in your life because it determines your response. Most people unintentionally, habitually, based on their subconscious programming, based on how they were brought up, based on their belief system, go to life is happening to me. And even you who has heard this before probably has days where she says, oh, I just can't get ahead. Oh, it's just like, why is life letting me down? Why is this person letting me down? Why am I not getting ahead, right? Victim, victim, victim. The other side is life is for you. Okay, this is for you and for your growth. And you then approach it with a different energy. You go, okay, well, This is for me. If this is for me, what does that mean? What is that calling forth in me? How can I grow? How can I change? How can I expand? Right? How is this an opportunity rather than something that is limiting me? How is this thing that I initially saw as bad or not for me or against me, how is this actually for me? So that's a perspective shift. And in order to make that perspective shift, you have to have one, the intellectual understanding of it. And then two, you have to change your belief system. And then three, you have to consciously choose a new way of being until that becomes who you are. Okay. So one of the things I really want you to understand about this step back philosophy, this step back process that I'm going to lay out for you is that it's not abdication. It's not saying, I'm not going to do any work, right? That would be a limitation. That would be stepping into victim. It's just saying, I'm going to take a moment to step back from my reactivity and choose a different perspective. It allows you the space to bring a new perspective, to make a different choice. And there are many ways to do this. There's not one single way to step back. People do it through journaling. People do it through meditation. People do it by taking a walk or shifting their energy state by exercising. They do it by writing. And today I'm gonna give you a way of doing this through your intellect, through asking a better question. So the first thing that you need to know is that when you're in that thought process, nothing's going right, everything's going wrong. Why can't I get ahead? Why am I struggling here? Why does this feel so bad? I feel so bad, right? Like there's an ongoing loop in your head. When you're saying that, you are focused on that. That is what you're seeing. Okay. And when you're focused on something, that is the direction you're giving your mind again and again. It's saying, hey, look here. Hey, look here. Hey, look here. Hey, look here. And you have to understand that even if you are someone who, let's use the dog whistle concept here. You are someone that can hear in the range that human beings can hear in because you're a human being. But a dog can hear a whole different spectrum of sounds. There are squeaky toys out there that don't squeak for us, that squeak for your dog. And can I tell you, I love them because I get a little tired sometimes of the squeaky toy, right? But my dog can hear the squeaky toy that I can't. Does that mean that that sound isn't there? Absolutely not. It's absolutely there. I just am not taking it in. So if you keep giving your mind the direction, look and focus over here, you're not looking at everything else that actually exists right now. It exists, but you're not seeing it. You're not paying attention to it, so you're not seeing it. So that alternate sound vibration that exists and here, you're not accessing. Okay. Now, my analogy breaks down a little bit because we actually can't hear the dog whistle sound, but there is lots in our environment that we're just not paying attention to. And if we shift our focus, we would see it. Okay. So the first thing that you need to recognize is that if you keep focusing on what you don't want, you're going to keep getting more of what you don't want. Okay. So you need a pattern interrupt. Okay. Otherwise, you're going to keep going down that same path. So what would be a pattern interrupt? Well, it's asking a better question. So if you're saying to yourself, nothing's going right, then you need to ask yourself a better question. And that would be, what's going right? Super simple. You just flip it, ask the opposite. Not complicated, simple. But most people won't spend the time to actually think that through. They're stuck in the old pattern. And that actually, even though consciously they don't want it, they are used to it. It's the norm. It's the set point of how you feel. So you don't think that let me say this differently. You consciously would like it to be different, but you won't make the conscious choice to do something different, like spend 5 minutes asking a better question and writing out your answer to it, because subconsciously, your subconscious mind is telling you how to think about everything in your world. And your subconscious mind is like, this is our set point and this is how we need to behave. It's your pattern. Okay. So you need to break that pattern and use your intellect to decide, I'm going to spend 10 minutes to ask myself a better question. What is going right? And it's very helpful to use pen and paper so that you slow your mind down and you can really write out a number of things and you're not just distracted and you go on to the next thing. You really spend 5 minutes on this and shift your energy. You want to ask yourself this and come up with at least 10 things. The next question that you can ask is, what would good look like today? Or what would right look like today? Because right now, if you're in this noise, you're like saying, nothing is right, everything's wrong. And that's binary thinking. You're going to want to ask yourself, well, what would right look like today? And this counters the moving goalpost concept. The moving goalpost concept is, you say, this is what I need to get done today. But subconsciously, you're like, actually, I have these 20 things to get done today, and I'm going to move the goalpost a little bit and a little bit and a little bit more and a little bit more. And then you never feel like you've achieved what you said you were going to do and kept your word to yourself. And this moving goalpost thing is a conditioned response. Okay, it's generally how you were brought up to behave, and you have to learn to change this. So one of the ways that you can change the moving goalpost situation or a condition is to ask yourself, what would right look like or done look like today? So the trick here is that your what would done look like or what would right look like can't be about other people. Done can't be about so and so on the team gets X, Y, and Z done, or I land this big client, because the client has to choose, the client has to make the decision, not you. So you have to, or your kid feels better. That's out of your control. And you have to recognize that that is not something that you have immediate, direct control over. You cannot affect that directly. Now, there's lots of things that you can do indirectly for sure, but that's the will of the other person. That's the choice of the other person. And so you have to understand what done looks like for you, what good enough looks like for you. Is it has to be an I am statement. Okay. I show up powerfully in my presentation. So you're doing a client presentation or you're doing a marketing presentation, you show up powerfully. You know, if you know what powerfully looks like, that's good enough. If you need to clarify that, you go do that. I complete these 3 tasks. Okay. That's very clear. That's what good enough looks like. That's what done looks like. I shift my energy and approach others with presence and kindness while still holding my standards. That's what done looks like. Okay. These are things that are in your control. I get this podcast recording done. That's a done. That's a clear thing. If you're saying, I can't get ahead or I have so much to do, you have to ask yourself what done looks like today. Okay. That's a clarifying question. What does done look like today? That's a pattern interrupt question. Okay. You can even ask yourself, what would good enough look like today? Okay. That's another question. And this is hard for all you overachievers or high achievers. I don't really like the term overachievers, even though I just used that. I like the term high achievers, right? Because overachievers sounds like there is a bar that you're supposed to be at and you should go back down to it. No way. Okay, no way. High achievers like to achieve at a high level. Is that you? Okay, is that you? I bet it is, because those are the people that are attracted to this podcast and actually do what I offer them in this podcast or at the summits or in my private coaching or in our group coaching. The high achievers are the ones who actually want to act on this material. Okay, so this might be challenging for you high achievers, or some of you might be perfectionists as well, to ask what good enough looks like. But that's a way of you getting out of the moving the goalposts scenarios where there's always something more. okay? Where there's always larger goals, where there's always more on your to-do list, okay? And it gets you out of this habit of beating yourself up for not getting your unattainable to-do list done. That doesn't work, okay? It just doesn't. It keeps you at an emotional set point of less joy, less delight, less lit up life. Okay. And I know that's what you want. You want to enjoy this moment. You want to enjoy the journey. You want to enjoy the process. You want to be in the flow. So, what would good enough look like today? Or what would good look like today? And you pick 3 things. So, for me, it's getting this podcast done, prepping for our marketing challenge, which is the Messaging Made Easy challenge, doing 3 videos to prep for some other marketing that we're doing. I list those out in my head and I get clear. And then here's the catch, guys. When you ask yourself that question and you answer it, you need to do a little bit of a follow-up scenario. Now, that follow-up scenario is evaluating your calendar, looking at your calendar and seeing what's on there for the day. And can you actually get those 3 things done that you said that would be good enough given the amount of time that you have on your calendar? This is a self-awareness practice. This is a practice of stretching yourself, but showing up in a way that doesn't set yourself up for failure, for saying, oh, I can never get ahead. You have to look and you have to go, well, actually, I only have 2 hours to get these 3 things done. And this is 3 hours worth of work. So that's not going to work. Okay. That's exactly what I did when I was, playing this out as an example for you guys. I went, oh, wait a second. The next thing that I actually do is I look at my calendar and say, is that viable for me today? And in fact, that's not. So I shifted it. I keep it in my worldview. I keep it in my perspective, in my realm of it would be nice to get this done. But I take it off of my top 3 things. And I added something different because I have multiple client calls today. And today is a client-facing client call day. That is my main priority for the day. And so I need to make that one of my 3 tasks and not dismiss that and make that not a valuable, countable achievement for the day, even though it's easy for me, even though I love it and you could drop me anywhere in the world and I could have those coaching calls, right? Like that is my lane of genius. I need to see that as something that I'm doing today. Otherwise, I think, why didn't I get all 3 of those things done? And my brain, my mind plays a trick on me. So instead, I shifted it to show up powerfully. Number 3 is show up powerfully and serve my clients today. Okay. And that sets an intention for myself. So what my 3 tasks are still a stretch for me today, given what else is on my calendar. And that 3rd one that I originally put on my list, that becomes a bonus, a nice to have. But that is like, I still feel great if I get my top 3 things done. Okay. Now notice my top 3 things aren't an abdication. They aren't super like, no big deal. I could do them in 15 minutes kind of thing. These are chunks. These are move the needle activities, okay? These are things that are going to help me feel successful in my life and business. The other thing I did, just a little bonus tip, was I realized that many of the things that were on my to-do list were admin. And what do I mean by admin? Admin is getting so-and-so this document so that they can work on that project. It's setting up a meeting. It is responding to someone's request for my eyes on something, like a decision, something like that. These are little things that I can do in 5 or 10 minutes. I chunk those. I put those on my calendar at a time later, and I tell myself, okay, all of that I'm going to do here, so I don't get spun out that I haven't gotten those things done. Okay. And generally speaking, I do that a couple times a day. Today, I'm just doing it once a day because of the way my calendar is set up. So you guys, if you do this regularly, if you do this on the daily, your life will change. You will start feeling better because you have adjusted your thinking. This is a huge mindset reset that is connected to taking different action. You have to do it differently. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over again. So I encourage you, take a step back, take a moment, clarify, step out of the habitual pattern, and adjust your thinking and perception so that you can have a better day. I'm Amira Alvarez. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Thank you for being a loyal listener and sharing this podcast with your friends and colleagues. And go have an amazing day and go be an unstoppable woman. I'll catch you in the next episode. Take care.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us and being part of the Unstoppable Woman movement. We have got a ton of free resources for scaling your business at theunstoppablewoman.com/free stuff. And you can find that link in the description below. So go ahead and check those out. And we'd also love your help in getting our message out to more and more women. If you'd be willing to share this video with all the unstoppable women in your life, that would be fantastic. And while you're at it, hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Reviews, likes, and comments are greatly appreciated. We go in and read them all. So thank you for those. And thanks for listening, and be unstoppable.